Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate your allowing a non-member of the subcommittee, but a member of the committee to join you today. You'll have to pardon me because this doesn't make sense. Mr. Smith, what's the purpose of the contract with ESI? What does the contract do? What are you buying?
Yes, sir. So the contract is basically a pharmacy benefits administrator. So what they do is they help us with providing the retail network. They also provide our mail order pharmacy. They do the actual mailing.
You say your mail order pharmacy. Is it yours? Is it the government's mail order pharmacy?
It is, yes, sir. We're the ones that contracted for it, so I think it's reasonable to say it's run by
I thought this
EFS.
company owned the mail order pharmacy.
Well, they own the mechanism for the mail order pharmacy.
What does
We
that
tell
mean?
them how to run the
Do they
mail.
own it or not?
Sir,
Isn't the mail order pharmacy one of your lines of business, Mr. Dr. Cosner?
Senator, the government buys the drugs
Got it.
through a replenishment model. We just do the physical dispensing of those within our facility, and we're paid a flat fee to do that.
You're paid a fee per prescription.
We're paid a fee, one, to adjudicate the prescription, so we adjudicate over 200 million prescriptions a year. For that, we are paid a flat fee. We do nearly 18,000 safety, quality, benefit checks on every prescription.
But I don't-
Additionally,
But you also have these independent pharmacies. What I'm puzzling here is you've got somebody who you're hiring to manage the distribution of drugs, who also is in the drug distribution business. And there's an inherent conflict of interest there, it seems to me. I just don't, I'm a country lawyer from Brunswick, Maine, but I don't get this arrangement.
sir, they don't own retail pharmacies other
No,
than.
but they own the mail order. Why wouldn't they, in every case, do whatever they could to move people toward their business as opposed to these independent pharmacies, right?
In general, we are trying to move them to mail order because for us, it is a cheaper venue. Our goal is
Is there
to
data that
make sure that
is there
beneficiaries
data that
actually.
validates what you just said, that a drug X to beneficiary Y is cheaper if it comes by mail order versus from a independent pharmacy?
Yes, sir, because of some of the restrictions that other mail order pharmacies don't have to have that aren't serving us. For example, TAA compliance. That means often they can buy much cheaper Chinese generics and other things. So when you do on a drug-by-drug comparison, you will clearly find there are places
Again,
where we pay a little bit
I
more.
don't understand hiring somebody to manage the
But
drug distribution
we
that also has a drug distribution arm of their own company. Am I missing something here?
But we are the ones that actually provide the drug to them for the mail order
don't you-
pharmacy.
if
So
you're-
the
if
drug
you-
distribution is not relevant here. We are providing the drugs, and then they are simply packaging it and sending it to the beneficiary.
But they also manage this network of independent pharmacies. I mean,
There's a-
again, they got business X over here and 15,000 business Ys over here. Why wouldn't they try to steer all the business to the one that they get a $14 fee every time? Why, I mean, again, this contractual
the one
arrangement
that-
makes no sense.
Sir, it is very complex, but the mail order, the $14 fee is the mailing, et cetera. That is not what it costs on the retail side. The co-pays are set with Congress. We have a higher price on the retail side because it costs ultimately more for us because we are not supplying the drug at the price that we can supply it
Help me
to
out here, Mr.
others.
Raybold. Am I just crazy?
Yeah, thank you, Senator. And I'd respectfully disagree with DHA's data, frankly, right? Because in your annual reports, you note that generic medications are cheaper year over year at retail pharmacies than they are at the mail order pharmacy. In 2018, by as much as 85%. You also note that your theory on why beneficiaries continue to choose retail pharmacies over Express Scripts mail order pharmacy is because Express Scripts uses a lesser of logic. And what that means is they are setting the copay for beneficiaries at $14 at their mail order pharmacy when it may cost a beneficiary as low as 65 cents at a retail pharmacy. So I absolutely dispute the notion that for generic medications, it's cheaper at ESI mail order. Your own data disputes that.
And of course, that's where it has to be apples to apples, and I was not saying generics exclusively, which is what you've been concentrating on.
All right, let me change the subject a bit. Access, concern, I'm from a very rural state. We've got something like 45% of the people in our state are in pharmacy deserts, and that's a real problem. Apparently, my understanding is DHA does not audit the information about access and that's provided by the company. Is that true?
No, sir, that is not true. We have had Guidehouse Consulting actually do an independent audit of the access numbers that Evernorth has been providing us, and we have found that they are in compliance with the contract.
And the company you just mentioned is independent of Evernorth.
Yes, sir, it's the federal arm, originally of PwC.
Final concern, well, two other concerns. One is the differential for reimbursement. I mean, if by definition the reimbursement is minus $9 for an independent pharmacy, that's a model for getting rid of all independent pharmacies.
So, sir, when we've looked at it, the NADAC price is basically about comparable across the independents and what we're doing with the chain drugs. I can't speak on Evernorth is the one that deals with the fill fees, but I'm not sure I understand because at least on balance, that's what we see in the data. Now, I will say if there's a fair number of pharmacies in the location, then clearly the one with the best pricing is the one that potentially ends up being in the network. But I can't speak for that. That's really Evernorth and what we rely on them to do for us.
I just, one final note, I'm concerned about the Coast Guard. We have a series of Coast Guard stations in Maine. They're very remote. Access is a significant problem, and I hope that's something that can be addressed.
Yes, sir. We certainly are aware of that. In your great state of Maine and Wisconsin, there's a number of places where they're clearly in deserts, both for the healthcare side and the other, and we work closely with them. I will say our partner has been very good about when we point out that there's an area where there's clear access issues, trying to work with the pharmacies in the area, and often they end up in the network.
Does this contract go out for